Hi everyone, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel. This is your astrology overview for the full moon in Aries on October 20th. The full moon is happening at 27 degrees of Aries, and today we're going to talk about the astrology and activated chart positions. If you're interested, I already posted your tarot card reading that I do first, so you may want to watch that first. It is linked at the end of the video and in the description. This full moon is a catalyst event. I actually called it the Great Silence. This refers to outer space. Imagine looking out into the universe, into the darkness, and feeling the pressure and the tension out there. Humans have sent out many signals to try to connect with alien life, but we haven't heard anything back. And there's a level of discomfort with that energy. Us on a big blue ball, staring into the pitch black. Confronted with things so big, we can't even wrap our minds around them. Simultaneous pressure and entropy pulling at different directions. As I said in our collective tarot card reading for the full moon, we are stretched to the limits. It is a time to mind your words, mind your manners, and avoid provocations. This full moon connects us to the Virgo full moon in September, as well as the eclipse in Sagittarius that will happen in December 2021. It is a place of tension and pressure that will transform everything around us into diamonds if we don't mess up. Now, I heard you guys were interested how this full moon would affect your sign. I can't do it for the full moon, but I'll do a video for you guys going over all the signs and how the current energies are affecting you soon. I'll also throw in a graphic today in today's video to give you some indication how your sun, moon, and rising is affected by this full moon. But for now, let's go over the astrology piece by piece so you can see what I mean. And then I will go into the activated chart positions, and I will tell you how your date of birth or special event may be affected by this full moon energy. Before we begin, as I already mentioned, I did a tarot card reading and a intuitive reading for this full moon that is linked at the end of the video. Members, you got an extended for the all sign members that is on your playlist. Also, I don't think I'm going to do a separate New Year's reading. So if you would like a New Year's reading with me, you may want to get it now as we are booking the end of January and beginning of February. It's a first come, first served basis, and I will definitely try to hurry up with the consultations. Since my site is down, you will have to use the link in the description and pinned in the comments. Do not purchase any readings from anybody else but my account. Okay, so let's begin because this is an interesting energy. The full moon is happening at 27 degrees in the sign of Aries. The ruler of Aries is Mars, and it is conjunct to the sun in Libra. Both Mars and the sun are debilitated in Libra. That means they're less powerful. That means the energy coming onto the moon is fainter. To add to this, the moon is at apogee, which means that it's at the furthest position from the Earth at this time. Each full moon is an opposition between the sun and the moon, and so the light from the sun that is modified by Mars, the ruler of Aries where the moon is softer and more delicate, leaving the moon in greater silence. Just a couple weeks ago, the sun, moon, and Mars were in the same position for the new moon in Libra. And so that new moon is now energetically connected to the stretching that we are experiencing at this time. The moon has moved away from the sun and Mars and is now on the opposite side of the zodiac. And now whatever themes have begun with that new moon in Libra, with this full moon, they are maturing and coming into fruition, or you may be experiencing some degree of consequences. Just to remind you, that new moon was on October 5th and 6th. And so as those events are affecting you, the powers of the mid-planets as well as the outer planets come into play. And so expect finally changes to be happening around you. Some of those changes in external factors may be requiring your time and attention, while you are caught up between wanting stillness and to absorb everything. Well, on the other hand, you want to take action in uncertain territory. How do we approach this full moon? It's with mindfulness. People not paying attention to their environment will regret that they did that. People who push forward without paying attention to others will fall flat on their face. So if you want to be successful and assure that this full moon prepares you for the transition of the new moon in Sagittarius in December, be mindful, be conscientious, don't tread too hard, and be gentle with others so they can be gentle with you. This full moon is in the third decan of Aries, which is ruled by Venus in traditional astrology. Venus is in the sign of Sagittarius at this time, which signals the rekindling of spirit, awakening of hope and promise. It's a defiant energy, meaning that if your surroundings aren't what you want them to be, especially on the social level, there can be a screw you attitude that comes through you at this time as you feel a connection to the higher principles of love and the types of relationships you want and deserve. The modern ruler of the third decan of Aries, where we have the full moon, is Jupiter. And Jupiter is transitioning at this time in Aquarius. On the 18th of October, Jupiter stations direct. Jupiter is a mid-range planet, so this governs the community and the immediate environment around you. Jupiter is at a sextile to this full moon. I'm using a wider orb, but it's applicable as it's applying. That means Jupiter is moving towards the full moon. And so even though some of the transits we're about to talk about may seem intimidating, I feel the combination of the Mars placement, Jupiter, and Venus will assure we're all okay, provided we don't fight and we're nice to each other, okay? Okay. So the moon in Aries doesn't want to fight. And here's a little story about Aries. See, Aries is the god of war. He's unliked and unpopular. He's the black sheep of the family. That's a pun. But the truth about the god Aries is that certain cultures, ancient cultures, actually canonized him as the top god. And so I wonder if the ancient Greeks that appropriated him from other cultures did not attach to him the symbology of the black sheep as an underhanded slight to the other cultures, that they were incorporating him into their pantheon from. As a side note, at that point, all cultures shared gods. That was the tradition of those days. So I'm not inferring that the Greeks were doing something in that sense that was inappropriate for their time. It was actually something that ancient peoples did regularly, and that's how they built out these large pantheons of gods by sharing gods with each other. So maybe Aries is the defamed god of other civilizations. Unfortunately, many civilizations did not keep written records, and so it's difficult to judge. But imagine Aries sitting there and vilified into a hot-tempered mess, the jerk brother of Athena. And in some way, this full moon has that energy. As Mars squares Pluto, Ceres conjoins Lilith in Gemini, the mid-planets Jupiter and Saturn station direct, and Mercury follows on the 18th of October. The world hustles and bustles and tries to overpower itself, while the sweet little moon sits in Aries and watches all the crappery go down. Now, I don't mean to romanticize this, but I think that's the best way to explain the energy. For those of you who don't understand much astrology or who are new to it, the square between Pluto and Mars is problematic. We've already seen violence erupt. But as I mentioned, Mars, I feel, will incite positive resolutions to these situations, as in all the problematic situations that may show up. Mars will quickly incite individuals to think fast on their feet and respond in positive ways. And then Ceres with Lilith in Gemini can really play on our vulnerabilities and aggravate the aggravated. But amid all this hustle and bustle, I feel like good things will arise. Sometimes we need that which is evil to have its say so that we can respond appropriately. I forgot to mention that one of the reasons why I think Mars is in a positive position is that because it's with a fixed star called Spica, which is extremely benefic for action. Spica is in the end of the Virgo constellation, but it is technically in Libra in the Western zodiac. Spica is brilliance, and so therefore I expect Mars to be brilliant. Mars governs conversations, the ability to speak well. And so in pressure-filled situations, I believe there will be people who will speak well and resolve situations well when they're needed to be. The other great energy to focus overall at with this astrology is the mystic rectangle between Venus, Mercury, Ceres, Chiron. Now I'm using a wide 5-degree orb for Venus. However, I feel it's appropriate. A mystic rectangle is an energy that allows us to rehash things, work through things. If it doesn't work the first way, then we can try another way and so forth. And so as we are sitting still underneath this Aries full moon, and the outside world is going a little crazy, and all the dust is being kicked up by all the things that are being said and all the drama that's around, we're inspired by the mystic rectangle to sit and resolve and try different ways of remedying situations. If you want more inspiration on this energy, I would encourage you to read up on the Eight of Swords in the tarot. Specifically, I'm thinking about the energy of persistence and tenacity. That even in situations where we don't know what's exactly going on, or there may be some kind of confusion, keeping our head down and keeping with it until we find the castle at the end of the road, or the resolution. Sorry, I'm being metaphorical. Over the last few months, I've been telling you guys about the kite formation, and there is another kite with Mercury having gone station and direct on October 18th in Gemini. And so Mercury is in the exact same position as it was during the Virgo new moon in September. And so things we have to face that we had to work through over this time, we get a second chance at to say what we truly mean, to speak with kindness, and to find a better resolution to the things that we were confounded by over the last month. So basically things that you didn't know how to deal with your newfound insights that you gained during Mercury retrograde, you can now revisit them and push forward by responding appropriately to their demands. So in summary, this full moon may be a little crazy. It's definitely an energy to stay away from any aggressive behaviors, because if you step into aggression, you're playing with fire, literally, well, actually figuratively. And the environment around you, your community, this isn't the world stage, this is your neighborhood, becomes a tricky labyrinth of dealing with people and them dealing with this energy and being tempted with aggression also. So you want to just take it easy, be nice, and understanding. I'm really hopeful that even though this square between Pluto and Mars is happening, that Spica will produce a good outcome. And this brings me to my last point. The sun is with the asteroid Pandora, and in ancient myth, Pandora opened a jar. Sometimes it's referred to as a box. And all the miseries of the world came out all together. But I think for our purposes, the main point of the story was the last thing that came out of that box, and that was hope. So allow everything that is of a negative nature to show its true colors. Don't react. Be thankful for knowing what you're dealing with, and be hopeful at your ability to create a beautiful reality out of that. Okay, let's look at the activated chart positions. Thank you.